And we do wish you a good morning. It is a Monday morning. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. And it's a Monday, Melody, and it was a rough weekend. But good morning to you. Are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm not sure if we're having audio.
Leave me alone.
Well, no, I'm not sure if we have audio audio problems. It's Monday. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think people tune into us just to hear our open.
Yeah, just because we're crazy. Yeah, I don't blame them. At least we give them a smile or a cringe or something in the morning. I'm not sure. Well, I had a rough weekend.
Yes,
I had
you
a rough
did.
weekend. And looks like I've got a long road ahead of me, maybe. We'll see how the old lady does. I took up square dancing for exercise and stress relief. So, this weekend I square danced and I tried to do a move that the floor didn't want me to do, and I fell straight down and broke my elbow bone. And I'm hoping it doesn't require surgery. It's broken more than one place. Just the bone of the elbow, just a little knobby thing. So it's like hitting so my pain is a little bit strange. It's a broken bone pain, but it's also got that twingy pain that you get when you hit the funny bone. So it's an unusual, really irritating pain. But anyway, it is what it is, and I think the old lady will heal up okay. We're hoping to avoid surgery. They're talking about that it could. A doctor hasn't seen me yet. They just saw the x-rays. Said swelling's got to go down before we even look at it. So,
yeah, that is true about the swelling. And
so later this week we will look at it and we will see.
Well, after you're all healed up, you're just going to have to do yoga with the goats. That might be a little more safe.
Well, I'll tell you what, one-handed, there's no squeezing into the yoga pants right now. Well, I gave everybody a good breakfast picture, I'm sure. Anyway.
But, well, at least you're here today, and I hope you don't need to have surgery. Prayers, ladies and gentlemen. And,
thank you.
And absolutely. So will you be square dancing this Saturday?
Probably not.
I'll tell you.
If there is a square dance this Saturday. There's usually one every Saturday, but somewhere, not necessarily the club I'm in. They have one once a month, and that's what we were doing. It was the once a month.
And I will tell you what, cement.
When you collide with the concrete, it wins.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And
it does win.
I mean, I've fallen twice since I moved to Maryland in my garage, and the cement one over the ladder, and one I was turning in my flip-flops. I turned, but my foot didn't.
Yeah, flip-flops will do that to you.
Yes.
People complain about my high heels, and I was not in high heels. I was in boots, and but it was... they complain about it, but I've tripped in flip-flops too, because sometimes they just don't move. They don't do quick turns.
No, they don't. And that's what I was doing. So, but it was cement in the garage, and I was fortunate, and and it still does damage. It's very easy to break things on that cement, and so. And I was a little bit younger, but not much.
You mean younger than me or younger than you?
Oh.
Okay. Well,
so
did you watch the Super Bowl?
Well, I usually visit since my aunt, my uncle, she lost her husband this year or last year. It's been almost a year. We've had this little tradition since I moved to the Eastern Shore that I would visit on Super Bowl. We'd have dinner together and watch part of the game. And so she didn't want to do it because he wasn't here, and I kind of talked her into it. So I ended up going over to my aunt's as usual for a little tradition, and spent the first 2 quarters with her, and we watched the game and talked. We probably did more talking than watching the game, but so that's about it. I got home and I just tuned in various segments to see who was ahead and so forth. But
well, we had it on. My number 4 son I have them all numbered, Number 4 son and his family came over. They're the ones with one of the new babies. And so we were supposed to get all this baby time, and of course I've got an arm in a cast, and I couldn't really hold the baby. And so I did hold him a little bit with the left. I did do that and cradled him a little bit. But so he likes to cook, so he cooked food for us, and they came in after church and such. I didn't make it to church yesterday, but so I did watch it. I didn't sit intensely and watch it, but it was a good game. It was a good game, and the Philadelphia Eagles won. It's the first time they've won a Super Bowl, so that was good. And I did make sure that I watched the opening because I wanted to see. And the national anthem, they all stood for the national anthem. Everybody was holding their breath. What are they going to do? Here it is, the Super Bowl. But it says that they all stood, and they did. And the majority of them had their arms across their heart, their right arm across their heart. But there was a few that had it like tucked up in their collar, in their neck, rather than on their heart, which I'm not sure what that was about or if it was about anything. But so they were, it was a beautiful thing. I had to laugh at the gal that sang the national anthem. What's her name? Pink? They call her Pink. Or something. Pink. Mm-hmm. She had to take her gum out of her mouth before she started singing.
Actually, that was supposed to have been a cough drop because she had the flu all week.
Well, she took something out of her mouth.
Yeah, they said it was a cough drop because she was sick all week. She had the flu all week. So
I didn't hone in that way, but I was looking at it. I thought, oh my gosh, she just took a piece of gum out of her mouth because it looked.
No, that was the cough. That was a cough drop then.
All right, we'll give her the cough drop. But I did watch her do it. I thought it was funny. Even at that, it was funny.
But yeah, you'd think that you were going to be on this with millions of people. You'd think you'd take the cough drop out just a little bit
before the camera hit.
Yeah, before
the camera.
But I don't know if I saw what I saw. But when they went into the halftime entertainment,
yeah, I didn't watch much of that.
I didn't either. And it's just not my cup of tea. But I could have sworn he came out. Because I didn't even know who was going to be on halftime.
It's usually somebody I'm not really that hip on.
Oh, I know what it said. I bet it said Timberlake, and I thought it said something about fake.
No, it was Timberlake. It was just a Timberlake.
I said, it can't be political. I saw fake. Okay.
No, it was Timberlake, Justin Timberlake. He was the performer. I'm not a fan of his music, but that's just me. But there was a veteran that tossed the coin, and I wanted to share a little bit about him. Nice. Marine veteran and Medal of Honor recipient Woody Williams appeared in millions of Americans' homes on Sunday as he tossed the coin for the Super Bowl. And he has an amazing story. Fighting against the Japanese forces in World War II at the Battle of Iwo Jima, Williams displayed heroic behavior. And this is in quotes here. Covered only by 4 riflemen, he fought desperately for 4 hours under terrific enemy small arms fire and repeatedly returned to his own lines to prepare demolition charges and obtained serviced flamethrowers, struggling back frequently to the rear of the hostile emplacements to wipe out one position after another. On one occasion, he daringly mounted a pillbox to insert the nozzle of his flamethrower through the air vent, killing the occupants and silencing the gun. On another, he grimly charged enemy riflemen who attempted to stop him with bayonets and destroyed them with a burst of flame from his weapons. His unyielding determination and extraordinary heroism in the face of ruthless enemy resistance were directly instrumental in neutralizing one of the most fanatically defended Japanese strong points encountered by his regiment and aided vitally in enabling his company to reach its objective. I was about 1,000, this is coming from one of his comrades, I was about 1,000 yards or so from Mount Suribachi, and the first thing I noticed was some of the Marines around me were jumping up and down and yelling, and this is him, I guess, and saying something about a flag and firing the weapons into the air. He said, I had no idea what was going on until I saw the flag. And, of course, I began doing the same thing they were doing, and we were celebrating. And that was Williams, as he told his story. That was one of his comments there. But it was a hero for sure. They best stand. If you got a Marine standing there, I'm going to tell you, I don't care how old he is, you better be standing if you got a Marine. I guess he wasn't a Marine. But it, those World War II vets, they're just something else.
Yes, he was 94 years old, I believe.
Yeah.
94 years old.
There's very few of them left. Very few of them left.
One more comment before we move on from the Super Bowl. We have their ratings slipped to an 8-year low. So, again, I don't know if this includes online watching, but, people don't do the cables anymore. There's a lot of free things that you can get, and I don't know how all of those play into as far as the ratings. But still, they saw a decline in 5% in metered market results from the last time NBC had a big game back in February 1st, 2015, when the Patriots had faced off with the Seahawks. So,
well, it had been the last several years that if you wanted to watch the Super Bowl, you had to be on satellite or cable. You had to get Fox News. It was on Fox News, and they did not carry it this year, but one of the mainstream medias did. Mainstream channels, and so
NBC,
there should have been more people watching it because they didn't have to pay to watch it, and there was less people watching it.
And there was less people watching it. 7-year low. Yeah. 7-year low, ladies and gentlemen,
and it has a lot to do with the politics, and it has a lot to do with the frustration of the American people I think people are sick and tired of everything costing an arm and a leg.
I do too.
You can't go to these things. Nobody can go. The average American cannot go to the Super Bowl unless they really save up all year or for years to go to it. You just can't afford it. And you can't afford to, they're not going to let you take a bottle of water in there, and you can't afford the food or the drink, and it's just not made for the average American to enjoy except in your TV in the living room. And then they was putting it on the special channels. It was on Fox, and before then it was on, I guess, ESPN or something, where you had to pay for it to watch it. So I think people are getting fed up with some of this, especially when it's supposed to be for them, and then they won't even stand for a national anthem. So, but they did for the Super Bowl.
But, it also makes a difference when we talk about cost. And I don't care what anybody tells me. There's a lot of people in this country that are struggling. They're working and working and working, and they're not getting ahead. So while they're working and can't getting ahead, they're thrown in front of them people that run around, kick a ball for millions and millions and millions of dollars.
And then protest because they think they're oppressed.
And did you see the protest, not the protest, but I hate to say, the destruction in Philadelphia last night?
No, I did not.
What is wrong with people anymore? They're overturning cars, starting fires. They broke the windows at Macy's. They stole the things. I guess Macy's does have the metal gates going across, so they couldn't actually get into the store. But I guess they broke the display cases, and people stole the things out of the display cases.
Why?
What is wrong with people anymore?
Oh, I hear music. There's no sense. There was protests against their Black Lives Matter had a protest, and that was, I only saw a little snippet of that. We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218, 717-300-1218. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann, and we will be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Have you seen the Left Behind movies? Have you read the Left Behind fictional book series? Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. Because they see the world stage shaping to fulfill what they have been led to believe is sound biblical interpretation, a left behind rapture scenario, this false view of prophecy is reinforced in the mind, not only of its adherents, but also includes those who have been merely exposed to the specific media. Is it possible that false prophecy can be fulfilled? The rapture theories have always been in dispute. Pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib disputes have risen up in exclusively evangelical circles of recent history, so that when true believers don't suddenly disappear, this element will easily go by the wayside when all see a new Jewish temple begin to be built. Will this be part of the great delusion that will come upon the whole earth? It seems that this great prophetic delusion has already overcome practically the entire American evangelical and Christian world. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. To learn more, visit crosstheborder.org. That's CROSS, crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, and we hope you're having a great start to the week. If you've been listening, you know that I fell and broke my little elbow bone, a funny bone, and it's not all that comical, but it is what it is, and we're going to heal her up and get back on track with life. So anyway, Melody, what's going on? You know, the stock market's been going down, down, down.
Well, it has. The stock market was down big on Friday, 665 points. And, you know, it was interesting. I was watching the futures after the markets closed into Saturday, and they were down another 700 points. And, of course, by this morning, they brought them back at about, 4 o'clock this morning. The futures on the Dow were running about 130. They cracked down to 2. The market opened. The Dow sank about 200 points, and they have since brought it back. It's now only down 100 points at 25,421. So basically on Friday, the market should have been down 1,300 points. That didn't happen, but it's just say that the pressure on it, that NASDAQ is up a few points this morning with pressure on the S&P. And what's really interesting is on my program, I often talk about the Fear and Greed Index. I'm not talking about the VIX, but this is put out, well, what happened to it? The Fear and Greed Index is it's a summation index that measures advancing, declining volume on the New York Stock Exchange, and it shows what type of what's really moving the market, the momentum. And I think on Friday it was like still in the 60s and 70s, and this morning it's down to 40. So that was a pretty big drop from 30 to 40. But there's a lot of things going on. Gold's up a couple bucks this morning after being hit hard on Friday. But the government could be closing again this weekend. There has a lot of immigration discussions this week. A lot of talk is, we're not going to close the government this weekend. We'll get it all fixed and so forth and whatnot. But everything all remains to be seen. And it was interesting all weekend long. The only thing they talked about was the memo. The memo.
A memo.
That's it.
A memo.
Nobody talked about the markets. Nobody talked that there was a 665 drop in the markets. And, that was 2%. Really no big deal. It is a big deal depending on what the trend comes from it. There's certainly no panic. But yet there was no mention, very little discussion. It was all the football game, and it was all about the memo. But there was a report that came out where the government is set to borrow nearly $1 trillion this year, an 84% jump from last year. And, these are incredible numbers. That's almost double what the government borrowed in 2017. The U.S. Treasury expects to borrow $955 billion this fiscal year. This is according to documents that were released on Wednesday. It's the highest amount of borrowing in 6 years and a big jump from the $519 billion the federal government borrowed last year. And, of course, this is, it should be a debate in Congress on how they're going to spend more money on infrastructure and the military, disaster relief, and other domestic programs. They want to go after Medicare. They want to go after Medicaid. They want to go after your Social Security. This gives them all the reasons in the world to do so. Mark Goldwyn, he's a senior policy director at Committee for Responsible Federal Government. Responsible federal budget. That's
an oxymoron.
Yeah. He says we're addicted to debt, and we are. Yeah. We are. They can't stop. They can't turn the train around. And even in the State of the Union, State of the Union, Trump didn't mention the debt. He didn't talk about the ongoing budget deficits. And this is really what is going to drive this country. This is what's going to tell you about your economy and how we're going to end up in the very near short term. We have the new Federal Reserve Chairman taking over today. I guess he's going to be sworn in, Jerome Powell. Janet Yellen, Saturday or Friday was her last day. Officially, I think Jerome took over Saturday, but then he was sworn in this morning. So that's probably why we've had this little bit of reversal in the markets, because they do have a lot of power to do what's necessary in order to, to keep things going. So, $1 trillion. A lot of money, folks, and I think we've just forgotten. I haven't forgotten, but a lot of people have forgotten on just how big all that is.
But yet we just spend. They don't even try to stop the spending. I have an article here where John McCain...
And spend. That means taxpayers have to pay.
And non-taxpayers get. This is John McCain and it's Senator John McCain and Chris Coons from Delaware. Of course, McCain's from Arizona. They're going to introduce, they've been working hard on a bipartisan citizenship plan on Monday for young immigrants known as the Dreamers in order to reach a budget deal before funding for the federal government runs out Friday.
Yeah.
The proposal, though, doesn't include funding a wall along the U.S.-Mexican border like President Trump has asked for. It's time we end the gridlock so we can quickly move on to completing a long-term budget agreement that provides our men and women in uniform the support they deserve. That's coming from McCain. While reaching a deal cannot come soon enough for American service members, the current political reality demands bipartisan cooperation to address the impending expiration of the DACA program and secure the southern border. But they're not doing that. And John McCain is he's not a friend of Arizona. He's not a friend of America. He just goes on and on and on with his spending and his ridiculousness. And it says here, DACA, or the allowed people who illegally come into the United States as children with their parents to stay if they met certain criteria. Now, it's always been that way. And Trump ended DACA. Well, he didn't end it. It had a expiration date on it in September with a 6-month delay, and said Congress needed to come up with a solution. Well, you see how well they've done that. The bill would give dreamers who have lived in the U.S. since December 31st of 2013 legal status and a path to citizenship. Now, why haven't these youngsters applied for citizenship while they were in this waiting period since 2013? Nobody has done that. They haven't done that. And anyway, it says the proposal would also order, this is on top of, so I don't know how much the whole thing's going to cost, a study to figure out what border security measures are needed. We haven't done that study already? Provide a $110 million annual grant to Homeland Security for 5 years to improve coordination between border. Why do you have to add money to improve coordinating groups and organizations and officials across the board? This is absolutely ridiculous. That's just me, I guess.
No, it isn't just you. It just isn't just you. And but the thing of it is, if you listen to people talk on both sides, I mean, I don't know what the issues are. They're really in agreement with one another to some degree, but yet they keep doing these silly things to keep it from getting done. The stupid things from getting done. And
well, they're making money off these illegal immigrants.
Absolutely.
And I am totally convinced that it is all about money, and that's why they will not secure the borders. They're making money on the drug running. They're making money. Somebody's making money on the human trafficking, and it is a bad mess. We have a caller. We have Sherry in Kansas. Sherry, how are you today?
Hey, how are you ladies?
We're good.
Fine, thank
how
you.
are you, my lady?
Melody, have you heard the interviews that Catherine Austin Fitz been doing lately about how she was going through the budget retroactively through the for the military and HUD, and now lately she's got a professor and his graduate level some kind of economics class. I think he's out of Minnesota, but I'm not sure, or Wisconsin or something. They've been going through the budgets and showing how there's they've come up with, last I heard, $21 trillion missing from just those two departments. The majority of it is in the military budget. Yeah. But have you heard her talk about that?
Well, I know she's been doing an incredible story on it, reporting on it, and so forth. And no, I haven't watched her videos, but I know who she is, and she does a fine job. But I mean, even of course, there was billions of dollars that went missing during the Iraqi war.
Yeah.
There were reports
talking about that when they're talking about, we need more money for the military. I think a lot of it's this contractor stuff, but there's a lot of graft up there.
There was $16 trillion reported by like Reuters and Bloomberg and so forth back in the day after the Great Recession of 2008, heading over Europe's way to help them out of their problems. Gee, do you wonder how they're stimulating their economy to the degree that their economies are supposed to be doing so well, and Greece's bailout and everything else? So yeah, there are trillions of dollars that are missing. Absolutely. And no one's talking about it. And hey, there's $16 million missing sludge fund for politicians and their little jaunts with other women and so forth. I just like to get to the bottom of that. But
nobody's talking about
nobody
that
talks
anymore.
about, nobody cares. They're just focused on, trying to get on the memo. And, it's just like, good grief, there's so much more. And but they truly do all have skeletons. They all have skeletons. But hey, the taxpayer, they keep paying. They ain't complaining. So, as long as
no,
taxpayers...
that's not true.
Yeah, many of us are complaining.
Not to the degree that we need to. Not to the degree that we need to.
There's where the real
but
protest
how
ought
do
to
you
be.
complain? Do you just stop paying? I mean...
I can't say that on the air. But,
yeah.
In trouble, girl.
You know what? I can say this. I heard a long time ago, someone told me that if there was a grassroots movement to where 1 year we didn't pay taxes, that would fix our problems. So I don't know. I'm just saying I heard that somewhere. Someone told me that. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. And it would have to certainly be a grassroots. But most people, you fight the IRS and you get thrown in jail.
You're afraid of them. And then
it's very costly. It's very costly. Most people don't have the money to fight them. And they have all the money in the world. And they have all the money in the world.
They have all your money in the world.
They have all your money in the world.
Our money, yes.
Okay, that's all I had, ladies.
All right, thank you, Sherry. Appreciate it.
Here we get reports. This is, my reports of record revenue, tax revenue, and we're still in a deficit.
Well, these alphabet departments of bureaucracy, they are negligent and disrespectful of the money that comes in with tax dollars. Just like what McCain is proposing here, and his Democrat buddy Chris Coon, just like they're proposing there, another $110 million to help, they're all about spending money here and spending money there, except when it comes to actually helping the American citizens. This is all about the DACA, the illegal people. Well, we got to take care of them. Well, what about taking care of our own children? What about taking care of our own? It's just frustrating. It's infuriating. That's what it is, more than frustrating. Using my left arm instead of my right arm is frustrating. This is infuriating, and we have to realize the fact that people are afraid to take a stand because they know they will be punished, or somebody in their family will be punished if they don't pay their taxes, or if they don't do this or don't do that. It tells you we're already under tyranny.
And the thing of it is, look at the IRS. Hey, everybody says, they're going after Trump and so forth. Who went after the IRS when they were targeting conservatives?
Nobody.
Proven. Admitted. Half those people came back to work at the IRS. Who went to jail for it? Who went to jail for it? No one. I mean, and yet, how many people call? How many people? Give out that number, Beth.
202-224-3121. That's 202. I'm sorry, it's 22. Now you got me confused. It's 202-224-3121. I got to look it up. I always get confused. I don't know if I can look it up without losing you because I'm crazy with the right-handed mouse.
Well, they're supposed to be voting. They're supposed to be voting tomorrow to keep the agency operating beyond February 8th. That is when the funds are expected to expire. And so, again, we know what they're fighting over and so forth. And it's just, and then we got another year on it. So how do you do any type of infrastructure and so forth and whatnot? It doesn't get done. And I had another article here we talked about last week on the tax reform. Well, for the private sector, our tax cuts expire in 8 years. So corporations goes on forever. That's permanent. But for us little old folks, it expires in 8 years. So as I said, save up your money and because you'll have a lot higher taxes come 8 years if we survive that long. But I was reading where Coke, this is from January 27th, he spent $20 million to push the tax code overhaul through Congress. Where does that $20 million go, and how did he spend it? He's planning to spend up to another $20 million to educate the people. Hey, we don't need education from you. but he wants to
are you talking about the Koch brothers?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Company Coke, and I was lost.
The Koch brothers.
Okay.
Thank you
Gotcha.
for clarifying that for the listeners. He's looking to spend another $20 million to educate the public about the benefits of the new law. Yeah. Well, $40 million, 20. Who knows where that money went to? There's few ads on television that I saw.
What is he educating us on? I'm lost. I'm sorry. I kind of was.
On the tax
looking
law.
Up the phone.
On the tax law.
Okay. The new tax reform?
Yes.
I can't believe he'd be for it. They hate Donald Trump.
No, the Koch brothers are on his side.
They hadn't been. They were against him in the election.
They're Republicans, so.
Okay. They're not true conservatives. But anyway, they're rhinos. Wow. 202-224-3121 is the correct number. I got confused with all my twos, which look a little bit like Z's when I write them down. 202-224-3121. Yeah, the Koch brothers, they were totally against President Donald Trump. They were putting lots of money in against him.
Well, now they're supporting the tax.
Well, that should tell us something.
Tax law, and that should tell you something. They said they have a lot to celebrate. The network, let's see if there's anything else in that report that's worth reporting. But there's just a lot, but it's just a sign that are things really different? And everybody thinks I'm negative on Trump. I'm not. I really like the things that he's done. But are things really different? Are things really different? We will know in 4 years.
Yeah, we will.
Or sooner.
Well, anything that's happened good right now, they're giving Obama credit for. Which I think is hysterical.
You don't have economies turn on a dime.
Well,
you do have money flood. You do have money that floods into the stock market.
Yeah, the stock market turned on a dime. That's the one they're trying to give Obama credit for, and then they're trying to give him credit for the jobs coming back and this and that, because it was already on the way to improvement. And Trump can't take credit for this, and I really don't care. We need to see this thing turn around, and if President Trump keeps following the status quo that we've been doing, we may see a little improvement here and there. The tax reform, obviously, people are going to get better. They're getting some benefits of, like you called it, a stimulus of a tax return, or less taxes taken out of their paychecks. But it's just a pittance. It really is. I know I'm not trying to be Pelosi or the other gal, because anything we get is something. When you've got a family and you've got $1,000 coming back, that's more than just crumbs to you. And they just called it crumbs, Pelosi and Debbie Wasserman. And it is more than just crumbs, but we need more than that. We need so much more than that. The American people are just spent. I'm going to go back. I haven't quoted it in a long time. I hope I can get it right. But everything that we're talking about, what Congress does against the American people, even this fight over this memo, George Washington quote is, "The marvel of all history is the patience with which men and women submit to burdens unnecessarily laid upon them by their governments." We're a republic, supposedly, and that means we, the people, are the government. But we have elected these guys. They're career politicians. They are D.C. occupiers, occupying offices and cutting deals. If you listen to CSE Talk Radio, which comes on the hour after this, you will know that that's what I call them, D.C. occupiers, because they are occupying these offices and they're cutting deals. And you're not getting rich by those deals. You're not being benefited by those deals. They are. And those who they're making the deals with, whether it's the drug companies, the insurance companies, the banks, the big banks, and they're trying to act like they've got this compassionate heart for DACA They could care less about these people. That's why they didn't stand up for those two families that lost their daughters, brutally lost them to the MS-13 gang. They didn't stand up for them because they don't care. They just don't care. It's all about money in their pocket, and Pelosi wants to tell me any different. She's going to have to show me her bank statement. It's about money. And it's not the money you have, it's the money they're getting. Sorry, went on my little rampage there. They make me angry.
No, but you know.
They're negligent and disrespectful with the American people's tax dollars. And here's an example, and I guess maybe it was fraudulently done, I don't know, but this is coming out of Michigan. And the Michigan approved a $360 weekly unemployment to a German Shepherd. Said the Michigan dog owner was surprised to find out that the state approved his German Shepherd for weekly unemployment benefits. The Michigan Unemployment Agency, or Insurance Agency, sent a letter to lawyer Michael Haddock saying that a Michael Ryder was approved to receive $360 a week in unemployment. This is coming from ABC News. The only problem is Ryder Haddock's German Shepherd is a German Shepherd. The letter claimed that Michael Ryder worked at a restaurant chain in Detroit. He says, I'm not sure what he's going to do with the money. Well, he did report it, and whether it was somebody taking the dog and giving him a Social Security number so they could get his unemployment, or what it was, whether it was fraud or just a big mistake, they didn't collect the money. But $360 a week's a pretty good unemployment check. I remember having to be on unemployment. Certainly wasn't that kind of money, and we had 5 kids. Anyway, I know that was a long time ago, but even recently. We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. Make your voice heard. Express your First Amendment and call those D.C. occupiers at 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. Melody and Beth Ann with Power Talks. We'll be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have church. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, and your calls are welcome. We're in the final segment of today's show, and it is a Monday. 717-300-1218 is the number to call, 717-300-1218. What you got, Melody? Anything else on this?
Well, yeah, I thought this was kind of interesting. iHeart Communications is trying to restructure, which to me restructure is bankruptcy, but they're trying to restructure a $20 billion debt burden taken on during a 2008 leveraged buyout. Radio station operator iHeart Communications said last week it is skipping. It's skipping. Ain't just not going to pay $106 million interest payment on bonds as it continues to work with creditors on a restructuring of its massive debt. The network station is the biggest in the United States, said its board has elected not to make the payment on its 14% senior notes that mature in 2021 as it continues to hold talks. The board is considering options as part of a strategy to achieve a comprehensive restructuring of the company's debt. And the notes in question were trading at 7.125 cents on the dollar. The company's most active bonds were trading at 76.75 cents to yield 19%. This company also owns Billboard and Company Clear Channel Outdoors Holding Inc.
Well, Clear Channel's had problems for a long time.
Well, now you know why. And they've just done financial engineering. I love it, financial engineering. Yeah.
I'm a financial engineer.
Get me out of this mess, and so we don't have to file bankruptcy. But basically, they're bankrupt, and if they get enough people to loan them money, they might be able to get out. But you know what? With online radio networks, radio stations,
it's tough.
It's tough anymore.
It is a tough business. I can tell you that right now. It is a tough business.
I mean, there's millions of radio programs on the internet. So it's you really have to be unique in order to be successful just on these programs that are online. But certainly it impacts the radio stations and the networks, just like we've seen the retails. The computers, the buying online has affected the retail stores. So again, this is just another sector that computers are just great, aren't they?
Yeah, they're wonderful.
Aren't they wonderful? Of course, I'm no fan of Clear Channel and so forth, but it just goes to show you that we've seen it in news. We've seen the newspapers. We've seen the decline. Magazines, we've seen the decline as everybody now turns to the internet for their news mainly. And so, and again, to me, that's just another reason why there is so much misinformation and deception and so forth. It just kind of even empowers it. A lot of people find the truth. They can weed through the stuff and find the truth. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people can't. So they just rely on...
they rely on the mainstream media or whoever they're listening to.
And this is basically allowed the mainstream media to really, perhaps... become worse than what they've ever been. So again, the pressures, look at the industries.
Well, these large networks like iHeart, I have been asked so many times, well, you should get on iHeart. You should get on iHeart. Well, you have to pay them to be on there. And Clear Channel has been in trouble for a long time. They were the satellite provider for CSC Talk Radio, and they sold out 2-3 years ago to Arbitol. And so that is who the satellite distributor is, and smaller business. And they take pretty good care of me. And, it's, you see these big networks, and they go around and they buy up the local stations. So a lot of your local stations are no longer locally owned. These big networks buy them up or pay them off or something. You don't even, a lot of the small stations, little radio stations in some of these towns, they don't even have anybody in them. It's all automated, They don't even have anybody in there. They just want to flip a button and walk off.
Well, I was reading not too long ago, though, I guess there is a positive side. You have your low-power local radio stations that are beginning to rise. These nonprofit FM stations, they're the small voices of media. They, coming from basements and attics. There was a report, and this was actually by the New York Times, on how these low-power FM stations are really beginning to grow and really beginning to make a difference on reporting the news. And so, I mean, a lot of these...
The only problem with that is financially is they don't have numbers. And, of course, the small radio stations don't anyway. They don't have numbers, so you can't hardly use them when you're trying to sell advertising, because people, when they buy, they want to know, well, what are your numbers? What are your listening numbers? Well, I'm in rural America, so I don't have those Arbitron numbers that others have, because they can't afford to do those things. And that, the low-power FMs, they'll be the same way. And I have some low-power FMs that carry CSE Talk Radio, and they're very, very helpful. But you can't hardly use them for advertising, to say, well, my numbers are this or that. And
well,
so
you could locally, because most of them only. I mean, you certainly can't be but I would think if
locally
the low
you can,
power,
but I'm talking on a national level.
Well,
I'm talking about on national level.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But most of these are not. I was my understanding that most of these little stations are, people who do things out of their basements, out of their, and they're actually playing. My point was they're making a very important impact.
They're good little patriots.
They're making patriots. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely, and they're helping the communities. And I'm very pleased, and perhaps with more of the nonsense that we hear from mainstream media, more and more people might be picking up these little FM stations and can make a very important impact, can make a big difference. So kudos to them. That's what I mean. I'm giving them kudos.
Absolutely. Well, I've always thought kudos to them, but I was just saying on the other side of that flip coin, it's they're very beneficial, but on the other side of that, you can't sell them. You can't use them as a selling point. But anyway, it's we have patriots popping up all over this nation, so people do care, and they're trying to do what they can. But we got to make our voice heard. We've got to express that First Amendment, and that's 202-224-3121. Write it down. You need to keep it there. That's the D.C. switchboard. You'll get a recording. They'll ask you where you're at, and they'll put you directly to your representative or senator. 202-224-3121. There are direct lines for each one of them. I do not have those. So.
All righty. So what else is going on today? We have today's the 5th of February. How about that?
February already. Mm-hmm.
So what you got next, Beth?
Well, I have a little something here about the United Nations, and this is coming from the Daily Signal, which is part of Heritage Foundation. It says the United Nations is taking aim at ammo. Now, we know that they're really good on the gun control. They don't want the people in America to have guns. And if you remember, in the Revolutionary War, the first thing the king did and his men was they blew up the ammo sheds. They took the ammo. They didn't take the guns. Anyway, the United States will have a busy year. The United Nations will have a busy year in 2018 as the firearms front. That's not a good news for anyone who in the United States who buys firearms. When it comes to the UN and guns, the best form of action is always inaction. It says, worse yet, manufacturers and importers at this year's SHOT Show, the Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show, organized by the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the Trade Association for the Firearms Industry, which it was in January, believe they're starting to see the results of past UN anti-gun efforts. The UN is on a tear against the United States and our gun rights, our Second Amendment. He goes on to say here, the bottom line is there are more problems for U.S. gun owners while China gets a free pass on those critical issues. Isn't that amazing how they will attack the U.S.? It's the same thing with the EPA, with the climate control. It's all about attacking the United States, and China gets a free pass, Well, we're just going to ignore those. I hear music, Melody.
I know. Unbelievable.
I hear music. We are out of time for today. We may talk a little bit about that tomorrow unless something else comes up that's really big. I think it's important that we understand the UN, they don't deserve our funding. They're not our friend. You've been listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, and we'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day.
Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.